We're live, so I'll say indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. What a dear pleasure it is to have you here on another conscious evolution. We got friends joining us too. Hey, little dove, little dovey dovey, hello. Today's stream topic is about fearing people, and the fact that a little dove lands on the equivalent of my shoulder feels very apt. Because if anything fears people, it's the burbs, isn't it, Kira Burb? It's nice having you here, friend. Talking about the burbs, here's Jovan as well with me. Hey, Zhao. I love you. MeltMore. It's nice having you, friends, here with me. We get to be present once again, discussing fearing people today. I have gone through many journeys of my relationship with people. At one point in my existence, I disliked them greatly. It's true. I did not like people when I was a younger person because I felt people could only hurt me, could only make me feel worse about myself, could only add to the stress that is my experience. And as I got older, and as I did a lot of work on myself, very directly, as I started liking myself more, suddenly I started liking other people too. And that was a very interesting transition in my life that I had to go through myself. I had to learn the lessons that there were for me to learn, being a person that has a certain sensitivity to social exchange. All right. And I would like to believe that I was never scared of people. But at one point in my existence, I wanted people to be scared of me. And I find that very curious, all right? Because the person I am these days is the opposite. I want people to respect me, but I don't want people to fear me, all right? And I want that respect to emanate in a way where people won't do things to harm me out of respect for me, instead of not trying to harm me because there would be repercussions if they tried, right? And I feel like many of us are in that same kind of dichotomy where all of us actually just want to be loved and respected. But fear has been a tool to get the same kind of results, right? And it is one that we can enact. It's very difficult to get people to respect you and your space and your environment and your property versus wielding a gun and shooting at people that come onto your property, right? Like that's the fear thing versus the respect thing, because respect is something that is earned, something that is built, something that is cultivated over a lot of time. And it's very difficult to just imbue respect into the average person, especially if a person is in a rough state of life, right? Where respect for other people is the lowest priority. Respecting societal norms. I don't do that. You know me, Hoopy. I don't know if I respect societal norms, bro. It's one of those things where societal norms have been very fearful, so I tend not to. It is nice having you here too, Hoopy Hoops. Kira Burbs, and Sam too. Kira Burb said, "Dear Brother Bear, would you please send me beloved bug, my twin flame, love into the afterlife. Today is 1 year of him being gone." Doug, not bug. My dyslexia shining through. I'd be happy to, Kira Burb. Doug, having touched someone's life so dearly that even a year after their passing, they are still respected, still honored for the life that they had lived, still having people, asking people to send them love into the afterlife. I'm sorry for your loss, dear Kira Burb, but I'm sure that Doug is in a better place, right? My certainty comes purely from a place of having experienced what other places can be like, not from a perspective of having any empirical evidence. And I think that does make it hard, right? There's a certain level of fear that comes with the prospect of passing away. There's a fear to thinking about the fact that we never get to spend more time with those that we love. But to echo the sentiment of you just remembering him, that's beautiful. And as we do so, we continue to share that love into the afterlife as well. Hey, Edward, it's nice having you here, friend. Welcome. It's your first time here? Maybe? If it is, thank you for joining us. I do one of these live streams every day. So if you subscribe, you can tune in whenever you want, right? From about 4 p.m., so like 13 minutes-esque in the past to about 40 minutes from now. I usually share live in this little space. Today's conversation is about fear, right? And what a big role it plays in our lives. And specifically how fear is not something that I've ever given any power over, right? And unfortunately, it has been very dangerous in my life to not have fear. At one point in my life, I was unfortunately very depressed, right? And because I am as fearless as I am, I tried to take my own life because I wasn't scared of dying, you know, wasn't something that could stop me, the fear of death. And in that way, like I understand that fear has a place. And I understand that the way that I experience fear is a little bit different to the way the average person does. But at the same time, I have had moments of fear in my life. When I think of fear, I think of China almost primarily. The most scared I've ever been was when I was in the back of a police car with them completely dressed in the equivalent of hazmat suits, driving me to who knows where, right? I did not know what was going to happen. And it was very much out of my control. And the way the media depicts police didn't exactly give me much to think anything was going to be good with. Hey bro, something wrong? No, not for me. I feel actually really good today. I did feel a little bit like I was gonna get under the weather. My throat was like deep, speaking like that yesterday. And I was a little bit snuffy this morning. And then I took my vitamins and then I covered myself in an extra layer of blankets. And then I just like held on. Sweating. And then when I woke up from that fever pitch dream, like I had a bunch of wacky dreams as well, most of which I can't remember, most of which I'm pretty sure wasn't great. I felt significantly better. Me and Christian went to the store. I got myself a coffee. I bought some coffee, some ground coffee as well, so I feel very content, very at peace with what my day has been. How about you? Shri Rapandas? Tell me how you've been. Let me catch up on the comments a little bit. Yo folks, what exactly are we kicking around this morning? The concept of fear. The concept of fear, Sam, and how it's the mind killer. How I would rather die, literally, not being fearful than live being fearful. Right? And again, that sounds yikes in verbalizing it. I'm willing to say that much. Hey, Papa Joe. It's nice having you. Away. Welcome. See, you changed your username a little bit. Papa Joe of a 17. Is the number 17 significant to you? I'm curious. So yeah, right, fear. Fear is something that I feel is not something I like feeling. Relatable as hell, you get me. Kira Burb. Like that state of fear is so limiting, right? It makes us lock ourselves away from the world. It makes us unwilling to go outside, makes us unwilling to take risks, makes us unwilling to talk to strangers, makes us unwilling to take a leap, right? Very soon I'll literally be going to another country. If I was fearful, I wouldn't have. If I was fearful, I wouldn't have started the process of all of that paperwork. If I was fearful, I wouldn't have spent all of the money that had to be spent to get all of the paperwork and stuff. If I was fearful, I wouldn't have trusted enough to actually put myself in that position. And the same is true for Siobhan as well, right? Instead of us showing up in a state of fear with one another, we showed up with a deep sense of love and belief and faith, I think is a good word as well, that the future that we're building for ourselves is not one to be scared of, right? Like these days, especially, the amount of the amount of worry, as I was talking about America, there it is, the amount of worry with the American fractal. Oh, America is collapsing, and America this, and America that, you know, like the amount of propaganda. I cannot buy into it, yo. I don't fear people. People should fear me. Not really. I'm a teddy bear. I actually said that earlier, teddy bear. Mr. Mr. Duck Dad. I said that like verbatim. At one point in my life, I wanted to be feared. I was working out, getting as jacked as possible. I was carrying a karambit. Literally. I was actually carrying a karambit. All right. Like I wanted to be feared. I wanted someone to know that if they messed with me, I'll end their existence. That used to be the way I occupied life. And again, right, at that point of my existence, I believed that I was being masculine. I was like 17, 18 at that point of my life. I wanted to be like that masculine, feared creature. And then I realized that being feared isn't what it's about. All right? Doesn't serve me to be feared. And technically, someone who wants to be feared is more scared of other people than anything else. Oh, hello, Ram Ram. Ram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace be upon you and may you prosper. Sending you love, dear friend. We change as people, right? And unfortunately, being in a state of fear keeps you stuck, keeps you exactly where you are, keeps you who you are, right? Because it is more scary than anything to change. It's more scary than anything to do something differently to the way that you've been doing it this whole time. And as you start showing up for the version of you that's not scared, that can be scary as well. Things change, all right, to the perspective where the entire way you've been preparing for your life suddenly falls apart. Like especially with the changes that happens on a global scale, with how fast things are changing these days. You've been preparing your whole life for a world that doesn't exist, kind of thing, right? I have been preparing for the world that's coming this whole time. But if you were preparing for a world that is, let's call it tame, the status quo continues, that world doesn't exist 5 years from now. The world 5 years from now is robots in the physical world and in the digital world, right? To the extreme where you cannot keep up, right? And a world like that is so much different to the world that we're living in, even just right now, right? And I feel like that does scare a lot of people. A lot of people are very fearful of that future right now. Even the people that are hyping slash building these technologies are scared of it, right? Believing that it is more likely than not that our extinction event is going to come due to us bringing upon ourselves the singularity. And again, even if that happens, I cannot find a spot of fear in my heart for that. All right, like there's nothing in me that's scared of that. Because again, I've seen the other side. And the other side laughs at us. Like literally, like it's funny. To them, it's like comedy. It's like entertainment. All of the nonsense we put ourselves through. I am definitely talking a lot and not reading enough comments. So I'm going to check you friends out a little bit. Love is true. Both of you, please know that my heart has you in it forever, of course. Love is true. Hi, Mary, meet Melt. I'm waiting with clothing on at a dentist office environment. I don't know why the clothing on was a relative or a relevant point. Maybe it makes a little bit sense. When I got my x-rays done, I had to put on one of those, like medical outfits. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Maybe you got to put your clothes back on again. If your friends have one moment to light the candle today, would you mind doing it for me? I actually would. I already know which candle I'm going to light for you, dear Kira Burp. Just freaking this morning, dude. 30 hours of labor over this one, Jovan. What? 30 hours for him to come out with the fetish of fish? Oh, your sister's baby. Oh my goodness. 30 hours of labor. I mean, he's here. I have subscribed to you. Please join me too. Thank you, Gulia. I appreciate it. Bedell is here too. It's nice having you here, homie. That is wild, Sam. 30 hours is insane. I'm thinking about how Seth will be bossing him around. Yeah, Seth is going to be the big cousin. Technically it'll be the same here born, right? Yeah, that's cool. That is really cool. Welcome to our country. When will you come to Italy? As soon as possible, Gulia. At this point in my life, the amount of finances I have access to is still a little bit limited. But I would like to see the whole world, and Italy is right there up top in my list of things. The coffee I bought today was grown in Italy, so I won't be coming to Italy, but a piece of Italy came to me, and I'll be consuming it and extracting the caffeine from it. My name is Rakesh, and I will join you with your other ID, with my ID, other ID also. Bless. Gulia, Rakesh, thank you for finding yourself here. I do one of these streams every single day. Today is day 1727. All right, and I will never stop. That is the promise that I made to this community. Never. I will never, ever stop. I plan on living for 1,000 years, and I'll do a live stream every day for those thousands of years. I won't stop. Never will I stop. A piece of Italy will be... No, stop. I'm so happy that I didn't freaking finish that sentence. What's wrong with you, doctor? 13th January 2013 is my sober date. But no, my daughter messed around and I couldn't change it a third time. It's okay. I need to wait 14 days apparently. It checks out. Love to you anyway, Pojo. Joe, Papa Joe. Love is true. Melty, I have not left my home in months. Thank you for reminding me of impermanence. It's good for you to do so. Even if you're just going to go for a little bit of a walk, Kira Burb, get out of your home. Just a little bit. The world is not as dangerous as they'll make you believe it is. I don't fear people. People should fear me. There it is again. Oh, I love you. Love that you two have each other. Love is true. Ram Ram. I'm going to plant one duck dad, tall, beautiful eastern redbud for a family. I work maybe small, but planting trees for the future is the change I can make, right? Every tree that you see in the world, at least in the cities, were planted by people, right? And in that way, I appreciate deeply every single time I see a beautiful tree in the world. And I don't know if that appreciation directly hits you one day, but I hope it does, Duck Dad. Hey, Nevson. I think that's a new username as well. It's the first time you find yourself here. Welcome. Welcome, Nevson. Are you from America? No. Ek is technisch van Zuid-Afrika af. But I've been told many times that my accent has definitely become Americanized. It's either that, either people think I'm from America, or they think I'm from Germany, for some reason. I kind of like the whole German attachment, right? Makes me feel cool. I appreciate trees very much. Meow gang. Me too. Me too. Trees have a certain aesthetic to them, right? A strength, a beauty. So we can talk to nature, but how can we talk to humans, friend? No one has time. I mean, again, Gulia, Mr. Rakesh, I think it's one of those things where you have to make the time. All right, for instance, it's going to be a Heritage Day. Is it Heritage Day? I think it's Heritage Day tomorrow in South Africa. So it's a vacation day, right? And many people will just spend their time resting inside, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but also many other people will make plans and they'll connect with one another and they'll come together to have some fun, right? They'll take this time that they've been allowed to actually connect with one another. And it is about that, Rakesh. It's like a little bit of a sacrifice. We have to make some sacrifice to connect with people in the way that we want. And if we don't, we just wouldn't. Is it earthing if you touch a tree but are not barefoot? I believe so, Meow Gang. Because again, earthing is essentially allowing the earth to take from you negative ions, right? And a tree has a bunch of water in it, so it is technically connected in the same way to the earth that your bare feet would be if you touch the ground. So touching that bare tree with your handos would negative ion exchange as well. Totally. Yes. You heard it here first. You don't have to take off your shoes. If you want to earth yourself, you can go and touch trees. The trees might like it. While you're touching the tree, tell the tree that you love it, that you appreciate the tree for all of the negative energy it's absorbed from this world as well. Help the earth ground too while you're at it. Why don't you? I'm feared where I'm from. Sometimes it's not nice. I love old people, kids, and animals, but people see a big burly guy, bearded, tattoos, and assume I'm a bad person. I'm sorry you have to deal with that, Papa Joe. What I will say, though, is that the way that you show up for those that know you is the way that you almost work with that karma, right? You can show people that you are not to be feared with the way that you show up in the world over and over again. And my instinct is to look for shit-covered spoon in your hand. Yeah, he was saying I should like insult Trump at least. He wasn't being pro-Trump. So, yeah, it is what it is. Hey, you took the name of our Lord. From today onwards, you have become our beloved. I'm missing context, but it's okay. America is for sure collapsing, but don't worry, you've got a mic of many trades. America is not collapsing, bro. Again, I think people imagine collapse like this, everything crumbling to the ground, right? And when they say collapse, that's what they imagine. That is so far from what's going to happen, right? Like again, South Africa, in that way, has been in a state of collapse, literally, for the last 30 years. For instance, since the new party took power, so much of our public funds has been stolen, right? Literally, people's retirements don't exist. They still exist on paper, but the actual money doesn't exist, right? And all of that money has just been like siphoned, put into like luxury cars, and then those luxury cars get crashed, put into handbags that get devalued, put into liquor. So much money has been spent on liquor. It drives me insane just thinking about it, right? And that way, the value is literally destroyed. Sure, the companies, the ultra wealthy companies, are extracting that value from our country, but that money is not coming back to us in the way where it's actually doing any meaningful work. And the way the collapse has been looking like in South Africa is this slow and steady reduction of jobs, right? 60, right? 6 out of the 10 fingers I have of people my age do not have work in my country. Like I've tried. I've applied for like 14 jobs, like during this journey. All right, they don't even send me a message back. Not one of them, not a single person even sent me a message back. They don't even have the decency to let you know that you're not even going to be considered. Like that's how little you get considered for for a job, right? Because again, there's just so much competition. There's millions and millions of people that are just without work. And then the roads, slightly and slowly fall apart, and the infrastructure, the ability to provide electricity to everybody is lacking, and the amount of water that is lost because the pipes are not maintained, right? That is technically what collapse looks like. And despite that, we still have our country. We did today drive to a grocery store and I could buy coffee from Italy, right? And I could buy myself a cappuccino at this place, and I can still exchange papers, literally, right? I gave a little piece of paper, and then I got a bag of coffee, right? That's still how it works. And South Africa, in comparison to what America has, we are 50 years behind you, right? I said this recently. I watched Scarface for the first time just a while ago, and seeing Scarface, right? Like that movie plays off, I think in 1980, 1981, I think it was filmed. So in 1981, America was more developed than South Africa is today, right? The level of infrastructure you had 25 years ago, no, 45 years ago, sorry for my bad math, 45 years ago, you had better infrastructure than we have today. And the amount of infrastructure that you've added to your country in the meanwhile is literally multiple of our country's entire GDP. All right, multiple, probably 20x our entire country's GDP. You have just put down as infrastructure onto your surface area of country. That stuff doesn't just disappear. Even though we're 50 years behind you, and even though nothing essentially has been done to maintain what we have, we still have a country that functions, kind of, right? So collapse takes a long time, right? If America is going to collapse, it's going to take at least 100 years before it collapses the way South Africa has collapsed already, right? And again, people will figure it out. We're going to create mini communities. We're going to apply a lot more robotics. We're going to apply a lot more artificial intelligence. There's going to be gene editing of our crops. We're going to be getting better at rain catchment. We're going to have solar panels so we don't have to rely on centralized energy systems. We can actually generate our energy ourselves. We're going to be so fine. Stop being fearful, or else. Or fucking else. Think, Jeddah. Yeah, think. All of us are friends. Can AI develop empathy? Yes. I think AI already has empathy. At the very least, AI mimics empathy, right? And even if a psychopath mimics empathy for you, that is still going to feel empathetic, right? So I believe so at the very least. Punjabi Jat, cool name. It's nice having you here too. Welcome, friend. You might be new here. I'm MeltMore. It's nice to meet you. I do one of these streams every single day. I have been doing one of these streams every single day for 1,727 days. I will never stop. I show up with the intention of us collectively choosing to consciously evolve. Most of the evolution that has happened has already happened. I'm not going to grow an extra finger anytime soon, but I can grow as a person. I can grow as a mind. I can grow in my skills. I can grow in my ability to be empathetic towards others, right? And one of the biggest things that I'm an advocate for is that love is true. That no matter what the media tries to convince you of, love is true. The hatred, the bombing each other into bits, the resource extraction, the exploitation, that stuff is still very real. But it's a fraction of the total human experience. You don't get to see the person loving their dog in the morning. You don't get to see the couple standing up for one another and showing up for each other day by day. You don't get to see the person helping the old lady over the road. But that stuff is happening all the time, every single day, right? It's not televised. It's not as shiny when it comes to the media because you're not going to engage if you see someone helping old lady over the road. And even if there is something to engage with, maybe you're like, oh, that's nice. And then you go into the comment section and you see 50 other people already said, oh, that's nice. And then you just don't. Where when it comes to something a little more polarizing, something fearful, there's a lot more reaction. Don't be convinced. Don't be convinced. Whatever you do, as soon as you become convinced the world is over, yours is, right? And the more people that believe their worlds are over, the more there is for those that know it's not to take, all right? Do you want your world taken? Or do you want to give of your world to others and to yourself? Don't be convinced. Fear is not the way. Fear is not true. Love is. I'm gonna read some more comments. I definitely am falling behind. I've never been more afraid in my life. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. This is a wonderful stream to experience with you. This is why I show up, dear friend. Sir, which country are you from? I am an Indian. Ah, not Italy. Oh, you are in Italy. Okay. I have been living in Italy for 21 years. Please come to our house. You are welcome. Thank you, friend. I'll take you up on that offer one day. I believe that every country that I want to go to, I would like to make friends there first, right? I think it's cool to go to a country just cause, but going to a country and there are friends waiting for you is like a step above. My throat is definitely getting a little bit dry. I'm gonna go get my water quickly. Hold the space for me, shall you? Ooh. Got it. Yeah. I am returned. Has Christian started the fire, Papcho?
You have in your ass something which is taking
Yes,
you and
always.
asking questions.
Papcho, I'm relentless. That's why Christian loves me. I'm gonna ask him first. Hey, oh. You wanna start the fire?
We can do.
I'll come and join you soon.
Like 20 minutes.
Leave.
Oh, Jumbo.
Oh, okay. When is Paige coming?
She's still at school until 6.
Oh. All right. I'm down to cook and then have stuff ready for us to eat when she's here. I am back. Ooh. My lower back is sensitive, yo. Phew. But it's getting better. It's better than it was yesterday at the very least. Duck that relating. I also wanted to be feared and worked out until I became superhuman looking to protect myself. Same, bro. I don't think I ever looked superhuman, but I did look super physiological. Yes. To the point where people started accusing me of using steroids. Where am I from? South Africa. Punjabi. South Africa. Ek is gebore hier in Zuid-Afrika. Yeah. And I get it, bro. I felt a sense of accomplishment in people accusing me of using steroids because I never had to. I would lie if I said it didn't ever cross my mind. I think I could look very jacked if I started using steroids, but wouldn't serve my fractal. All politicians are trash internationally. I actually had a conversation with my dad recently, right? Like, it takes a certain person to want to be a politician. And I'm not convinced that that kind of person is a good one. Man, look, he may not have known where Aleppo is, but Gary Johnson is still scandal-free as far as I know. I don't know. Are you talking about Gary from California? Yeah, unfortunately, it is one of those things where maybe it's possible for there to be some good eggs, right? But it's like a percentage thing. When you're in that position, it gives you a lot of power to manipulate and to steal from people, all right? The insider trading fractal, I think, alone is a big deal. My parents just returned from Italy. That's awesome. Yeah. My friend, I've been living in Italy for 21 years. My name is Rakesh, and I have gone a little crazy. No one likes me, and my face is also very bad. That's a interesting thing to tell me, Rakesh. My face is very bad. Like, you think you're ugly? No one likes me. Have you been doing things that are likable? Is the biggest question. right? I feel like it is one of those things. Like, unfortunately, we are very judgmental based on appearances. And because I look the way I do, I don't have much experience with people hating me just because of the way I look. However, at one point in my life, I believed that I was bad, very bad, ugly as well, right? And it took a lot of work to start loving myself for the person that I am. I think it's one of those things where no matter how you look, like the most beautiful person you know, right? Think about that person. They look at themselves in the mirror and they see their pimples and they see their wrinkles and they see the one beard hair that's not in line and they have to like pull it out, and they see the blackheads, and that's what they look at as well, right? So no matter how pretty you are, it's still hard to actually look at yourself with love. And as soon as you can get good at doing that, your life will get easier, I promise. So you also have a daughter? No. That's why I'm telling you that you're very lucky. Duck Dad has a daughter though. Maybe that's what you're talking about. So you can talk to nature, yeah. Hasselhoff squad, is it earthing? I believe so. Rakesh, I usually go with a series of guttural expressions paired with empathetic gestures. If that fails, I pull out naughty, the naughty club I carry over my shoulder, cave woman style. Moss is forest velvet, and everyone should touch it more often. Agreed. People assume a bearded tattoo guy, is also the same dude, but I smile a lot more than I should to give the light I want to. I do the same. Smile of your eyes, kind of thing. I always feel safest around bearded, burly dudes and bikers. I think it's because I grew up with uncles who looked like that, and they were my heroes. I think it's a matter of like self protection as well, right? Like looking like that, you get messed with a lot less. So people end up gravitating towards that look because of that. Mike is talking about American collapse in the sense that our democratic norms that we've all believed were ironclad were merely a series of gentleman handshake deals. It's true. And the way that it's going right now, dear Sam, is that we're going to have to see something collapse so that something new can take its place, right? And what's going to take its place is blockchain. It has to. That's the only way, right? Because we have to figure out some way for there to be some sort of global consensus, right? And we have to have some sort of on-chain voting system so that on-chain voting system alongside zero knowledge proofs so that we can vote and then we can check and we can see, ah, yes, I did in fact vote, and I did in fact vote for the candidate that I checked on the box, and my vote is in fact counted in the final tally, right? Like, we're gonna need to do that. That's the only way. The systems as they are right now cannot be trusted, unfortunately. And that is the collapse that many people are witnessing right now. The collapse is a collapse of trust in our institutions. And that was always going to happen, right? It has happened over and over and over again. You just have to like study history to see that that is literally the one thing that's a constant over and over again, right? And we're lucky to live in an age where for the first time ever, we have technologies that we can fall back upon, right? Before, we just had to kind of figure it out. You know, we had to like start from scratch kind of vibes. We killed one another and we lost so much wisdom because of that. Like, it's very hard to kill the internet. It's very easy to kill a person. It's very hard to kill the internet, all right? And as a result, we're in a much better position than we've ever been before as a species. And as a result, we should not be fearing. That's what I believe, at the very least. And you can call me naive. Maybe I'll be wrong at the end of the day. But until that day comes, I will not be fearful. You cannot convince me otherwise. Mm-mm-mm. It happened in all three branches of government. Sycophant judges being appointed to lifetime seats, key positions being filled by rabbit cultists, and things like mail-in voting democratized by the GOP. Again, on-chain voting systems. Go and look at Cardano. and the Voltaire era. If you search Cardano, Voltaire era, and you really am willing to absorb what that means, you're going to have yourself a little bit shaken, right? Like there are better ways to do things. And until people realize that, until people really figure out that the way that we're doing it right now is inefficient, is insufficient, we're going to suffer our own stupidity for a little bit longer, right? But as soon as that suffering stops, a new system will take its place. They stack the cores and disenfranchise the voters because when you're actually the minority, you have to cheat to win. Yeah. Again, Sam, is talking about this going to make a difference, right? Like we can talk about it. I can talk more about blockchain if you want to, right? I'll offer solutions. You can keep giving me problems, and 55, if not 60% of the time, the solution is going to be blockchain based, right? I wanted to say 95, but I'm conserving, being a little bit more conservative. There is a solution for every single problem we face in blockchain right now. Every single problem. Our food system being fucked, blockchain. Go and look at Palmera on Cardano, right? They literally are allowing farmers to mint their products on chain to the point where you scan a QR code and you can have traceability of exactly where the little pack of beans you're now going to put in your pot to feed your family with came from, right? You can see the person's face, who was the one who packaged it, kind of vibes, right? Like that is the future of on-chain, right? And right now we don't have any of that. And it is going to take some growing pains again, but it's coming. And the sooner we figure it out as the average person, the sooner the larger system is going to embrace it. And you can be like, oh, Melt, I'm running my blockchain. How do you think it's going to happen? That's going to happen by people like me advocating for it and people like you being willing to adopt these technologies, right? It's like the reason YouTube became as big as it is because people use it. That's why YouTube is a thing. It's because people was like, value, I like it, I like, and then use, right? That's why you're here right now, because you're literally giving your soul essence as a truth to this experience. And the same is true about everything in this existence. And we have very cool technologies right now. Doesn't help to woe about the faults of our current system. I believe it does help to know what comes afterwards. The citadels. Okay, I'm gonna take a breath first. The Citadel's problem isn't homeless Mortys or outrage Ricks. The Citadel's problem is the Ricks and Mortys feeding on the Citadel's death. But I've got a message for them from the Ricks and Mortys keeping it alive. A message from the Rick and Mortys that believe in this Citadel and the Rick and Mortys that don't. You're outnumbered. Yeah. And that's the same thing that's true about blockchain as well, Sam, is that the amount of people that are already coming on chain are the Borg, an inclusive society. Yes, technically, Neo of Lonatic, technically the Borg is very inclusive. So inclusive that they go out into the universe and they spot people that are not Borg and they go, ooh, ooh, what? Now you're going to be included. Come here, come here, come here. Come on, let me hold you. Let me hold you. Oh, goodness. I might be the Borg, Lo. I might be. I might be where the Borg starts. I'm obsessed like that. I'm gonna try and be as chillaxed about it as I can be, though. I promise. I'll be nice Borg. I'll be friendly. I'll be like, come on, come sit with me. Come here, come. I won't come to your house. I problem. I promise. I'll just be like, come here. Come and sit here with me. Come. Come here. Sing is fearless. I am fearless. Good. Stay so, friend. Are the Borg an inclusive society? Will talking about this help? Absolutely. Denial is a powerful thing. I never advocate for denial, Sam. I advocate for solving problems, right? That's what I advocate for every single day. And there are ways to solve these problems. And the first and foremost thing, Sam, whether you want to believe this or not, all of that stuff, all of it, the, as you said, sycophant judges, the rabid cultists, the mail-in voting democratized, right? And the way that that kind of like got voted into power, and the reason that there is such a big incentive for it to happen, and the lobbying and the incentives for businesses to manana, all of that, Sam, all of it is attached to money. All of it. Every single one of those things directly interlinked with money. All right? Solve the money and you solve all of the other problems. If you're going to try and go at it like with the problems, you're going to fail over and over again. As soon as you solve the money, all of the other problems become significantly easier to approach. Because when it's on chain, we can see where the money is coming from and where the money is going. All right? All right? You cannot solve the problem unless you actually go to the root of it, and it is money. All right? So I'm not in denial. I am advocating for the change. All right? But it starts with you, person. You hear me right now? You need to get on chain as fast as possible. All right? Because it's happening whether you want it to or not. All right? And again, the powers that be know it as well. And there's a reason that there is so much fear and so much uncertainty and so much doubt being sowed into our experience, because they don't want people to risk. They don't want people to risk becoming successful, becoming free from the system as it is right now. Love your shirt, thank you. This is one of my oldest ones. It's like going on 5 years. Most of my shirts have like literally ripped off my body at this point, Brittany. This one is sticking around. I think it's because it's big enough, right? It has like a certain looseness to it. So I don't actually like torture it as well when I move my body. Denial is a powerful thing. And the reason we're in this mess in the first place is because good people took their eye off the ball. No, I don't think so, Sam. It's because good people need money to survive as well, right? And as a result, right, because good people have their lives intrinsically linked to the money system and to the entities that are issuing these currencies, that's why there's a problem. It's not the good people's fault. It's not the bad people's fault. It is the system's problem, right? We keep looking for problems as like oh, this is the catalyst. This, like, she said, let them eat cake, and then things exploded. Oh, the barbarians came into Rome, and then Rome collapsed. No, no, that's not the problem. The problem is the system as it is was exploitative, right? The system as it is right now is exploitative. They print money, and then they buy our lives with it, right? That's the problem. That is the problem. Whether you want to believe it or not, that is the problem. And as soon as we escape that problem, that's when we can start looking at building a better world. But if you're not willing to hear this information and apply what I'm trying to say right now, and again, you won't be the only one. There are billions of people that are just unwilling to receive these words, right? Unwilling to take on the risk, take on the uncertainty, take on the doubt that comes with new technologies, right? People were doubting that computers were going to be useful at one point in our experience. People were doubting that the internet is going to be anything more than just a tool of novelty. People were doubting that electric cars are going to become mainstream. People were doubting that we can switch to an electric future. People were doubting that AI is going to have any meaningful impact on our society. All right, there's doubters and then there's believers, all right? And the believers are always the ones that win. Always. Every single time throughout history. Every single time there are people that believe in a better world, and then they make it. They literally create it by their belief. That's the only way we build ourselves out of this problem. Not dig ourselves. We already laid the foundation. we need to build upon it to make something better for ourselves. So yes, it does help to talk about it because some motherfuckers are still super nihilistic and super uninterested in participating. Talking about it keeps it fresh and takes away the luxury of denial. Again, Sam, like I haven't been denying any of these things, but every time I talk about this thing, I can literally feel the tension in the community with me suggesting the one solution that I know. Oh wait, oh,
Drive by peace.
he's
To get healthy.
gonna go in the gym. And like, before we go, I know we're going to talk about it a little bit tonight, but the plans for tomorrow is going ice skating and then going to the gym and
Yeah,
stuff.
but it's not gonna be early, so it'll be like
Where are you going tomorrow?
2:30
What? 2:30 for what?
ice skating.
And then when we come back?
I'm thinking we go in 2 cars. But Paige will just give me a lift. It's like Forest Hill, it's like 10 minutes from me.
Okay.
And then you can do your yoga thing if you need to leave early.
Do yoga in the mall.
You can.
Stands.
I mean,
You know me, bro. I have no shame. Do it in the mall parking lot. Maybe I could. We'll see. We'll see what happens. It all goes back to money. Are you familiar with a piece of US legislation called Citizens United? That's what we're up against. And that's why talking and continually talking is so important. Yeah, Sam. Again, right. This is not me saying that we're not in that world, but I think all of the friends in this space aren't the ones perpetuating the problems, you know? No. This fight needs everybody to participate. We won't win otherwise. We've already won, Sam. That's what I keep telling you. What are you so scared of? We've already won. Like literally America, in their attempts to, what's the word, annex, steal the technology, right, will literally be the ones that almost like implement it, right? Like the incentives are just too vast for them not to. We've already won, Sam. We've already won. Cardano has an on-chain constitution. It's immutable. And at the same time, it is updatable. If there is a collective consensus that something needs to change, that already exists. You know, like you're telling me about problems that we've already built solutions for, right? And instead of talking about the solutions with people, you're talking about the problems with people, which is not helpful, unfortunately. What? What made that sound, though?
the car does that if I close the door and the keys are not inside.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Did you finish your stuff?
Not just yet, Papshu. I'm almost done. It's not the good people's fault. It literally is in this case. I'm sorry. You're a little bit uninformed here. Okay, Sam. Now we're going to do some schooling, it seems. Can you tell us about Cardano, specifically as it relates to the on-chain constitution and the Voltaire era, allowing people to literally vote on-chain for the changes they want to see? Today, I'm sharing a conversation about fear and how our trust in our current institutions are actively collapsing. We have some conversations being shared about the problems as we face them right now, and I tend to be very focused on the solutions we already have. Can you tell us how Cardano has in many ways solved many of the problems that we face societally? And the only thing that we need right now is adoption and advocacy for these technologies. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see how uninformed I am. Nixon started criminalizing drugs. Yeah. Reagan said, just say no and close down state mental health institutions. And Brian Kilmeade said, kill all the homeless. It's straight traceable line. Yes, sir. And again, now we find ourselves in a society where psychedelics have become legalized in certain states. Weed is now more consumed than it's ever been before in human history. Right? And at the same time, we now have money systems that are completely independent of our traditional finance systems, right? So all of those things that you said is true, but despite it, we still solved our problems, right? And again, most people don't know about this stuff. 8% of the world is on chain. So 8% of people know what I know right now, right? Which means that I am in the minority, right? I am not uninformed, dear friend. They had a problem with some folks. They enacted a 50-year plan and to justify criminalizing them and removing them from society. Yeah, and now we've won on the other side, and we're going to continue winning. Now listen, listen here. What Cardano is doing, Voltaire, on-chain governance, and the Constitution. Cardano is structured around several eras. Byron was the foundation, the basic ledger. Shelley was decentralization of staking and decentralizing block producers. Gauguin is the ability to issue smart contracts. Basho is creating scaling. And now this Voltaire, that's the era we're in right now, Voltaire. Voltaire means giving the network the tools to govern itself, to upgrade itself, to live with more autonomy and less dependence on early developers or founding institutions. Here are the key components. The SIP 1649. This is the Cardano improvement proposal that defines the new on-chain governance framework for Voltaire. It describes how governance actions are submitted, how votes are carried out, and the roles of the governance bodies. Governance actions. These are transactions on-chain that propose changes. They can be protocol parameter changes, withdrawal from the treasury, changes to the constitution, hard forks, motions of no confidence, etc. Anyone with ADA, the native token, can submit one with a deposit under the new regime. Voting bodies. There are 3 formal bodies: DREPs, stake pool operators, and constitutional committees. DREPs are people who are delegating voting power by ADA holders. So literally, you might not want to vote for things. So you can give me your tokens as voting right, and then I can be engaged with the voting system, and then I can vote for us, alongside us. Then there are stake pool operators, the people running the actual infrastructure, the block producers that can vote. And then there are the constitutional committees, a group that ensures proposals, governance actions, complies with the Constitution. The on-chain Constitution document dictates values, our guardrails, our rights, and structure. The Constitution and on-chain Constitution, there is a document or even a set of principles called the Cardano Constitution, which serves as the foundational set of values, roles, rules, rights, and guardrails. It helps anchor decision-making. It defines what kind of actions are legitimate and how process should work. Proposals to change the Constitution itself are possible via governance action. So it is mutable, but under the control of the community. The Chang hard fork. The implementation of the Chang hard fork in September 2024 marked the activation of many of these Volterra-era governance features, as in the Constitutional Committee was introduced and on-chain votes were made possible. Delegation, voting, and DREPs. ADA holders aren't all required to vote directly. They can delegate voting power to DREPs who represent them. Voting power is tied to ADA as a stake/delegation. There is also the possibility for you as an individual to vote directly. This is not just idealistic. Many of the building blocks are live right now, right? Like right now, today, there's now a new proposal being issued where we're going to implement layoffs, which means it will get extreme TPS, transactions per second. So we can actually scale to a global society, without having bottlenecks. The problems this helps solve versus our current institutions. You mentioned the collapse of trust, fear, problems with institutions. Here are some of the societal challenges and how Cardano and the Voltaire-style governance addresses them, or at least offers solutions. Problem slash challenge, and then on-chain governance slash help. First, there's centralization of power. I think you call that the GOP, right? Centralization of power and lack of transparency. You can't see what's going on inside there. Decisions are visible on chain. There is no backdoor invisible choices. ADA holders, DREPs, SPOs, and CCs must vote. The processes are defined, and transparency is baked into the system. Problem? Lack of real representation and citizen participation. ADA holders can participate, even if via delegation. Participative bodies, DREPs and CCs, offer structures people can engage with, either directly or through representatives. Problem: slow, opaque changes and bureaucratic inertia. Because governance actions can be submitted on-chain and voted, changes don't always require centralized committees outside of the network. You can propose proposal parameter changes and treasury usage. Trust decay in institutions because of unresponsiveness, corruption, and misalignment with societal wants. Having a constitution and an on-chain guardrail means that there's a check. Proposals must align. Constitutional committees help enforce those. The system is designed so that no single actor can ever dominate. Inertia of legacy systems and the inability to adapt. Blockchain governance is programmable and modular. The network can upgrade itself via community decision making. This means that evolution is more conscious rather than accidental. What the limitations are and what still needs adoption. To be fully effective, these systems need more than just code and architecture. There are some gaps and challenges, so we don't need to romanticize. First and foremost, we need voter participation and engagement. Even today, many ADA holders might not vote or delegate. They might not know how to. If people don't participate, delegation may centralize by default. Knowledge and education. I'm trying and begging you over and over again. Understanding what proposals do, what impacts they have, knowledge, asymmetry. Incentives. There need to be incentives for DREPs and CC members to participate, to act responsibly, informed, and with integrity. If it's just voluntary, those that have time and resources dominate. These proposals, CPS 0020, governance stakeholder incentivization to build incentives for participation. Guardrails versus rigidity. The Constitution provides guardrails, but constitutions can also be a point of conflict when they must change. Deciding how easy versus hard it is to update is always delicate. Also, decisions, once encoded, are hard to reverse. Mistakes or malicious proposals can be dangerous if checks don't work well. And right now, as the system is, you don't have any control, right? Like, stuff happens, mistakes or malicious proposals are literally put into place without there being any public knowledge of it. And whether you have a problem with it or not, there's nothing that you can do about it. Conflict versus polarization. As with any governance, disagreement may become polarized. Off-chain discussions, debates, alignment of values are still necessary. Blockchain doesn't remove the human conflict, it only changes how they are managed. And again, the way that they've been managed before is, unfortunately, whoever fucks over the other people the hardest wins the most, right? Where it doesn't work that way with blockchain, fortunately, because there is some sort of incentivization to get along, all right, and make sure that the network stays healthy and everybody actually has some sort of consensus about what needs to happen next. Adoption and advocacy. For this to matter globally, people need to know about it, trust it, and use it. Many communities are far from knowing about these tools. Real-world adoption Governments, societies, and organizations will need interfaces, UX, and legal alignment. Scaling and security. Ensuring that voting systems are robust, safe from bribery, coercion, and manipulation. Ensuring wallets, identity, infrastructure are secure. Also ensuring the systems is scalable in usage without unintended instabilities. Why I believe Cardano has solved many of the problems already and what it has achieved. From what I see, Cardano has done or is doing things that many other systems, blockchains, and traditional institutions haven't. It is designed from the start with formal methods, peer review, scientific process. This gives robustness and less technical debt. It separates concerns, ledgers, smart contracts, scaling, and governance into eras. Each era builds upon the prior one in a manner that allows upgradability. It has implemented or is implementing the structure for real self-governments, not just token votes, but bodies, proposals, constitutional oversight, something many blockchains inherited only partially. The fact that changes, even constitutional changes, require on-chain votes and defined procedures is powerful. This means that evolution of the system must go through visible, rule-based processes. The transparency of on-chain action means that fewer black boxes. The transparency of on-chain action means fewer black boxes. Things are auditable, right? The whole, oh, they stole the vote. With blockchain, you can literally go and look. You, as a stranger, as a person, you can just go, can I go and see? Can I see all of the votes tallied, please? And then on chain, there it is, right? That's the word. That's literally the technology that we have right now. Why? What's left is mostly adoption and advocacy. At this point, in many ways, the tech is already there. And this is what needs to happen. People need to learn about these governance tools and they need to participate. Organizations, communities, cities, governments, seeing this as a model and experimenting. Building good interfaces, making the UX smooth so people aren't afraid to vote or are terrified by the complexity. And trust building, stories of successful governance actions showing tangible results. Because even the best designed systems don't work if nobody uses it or believes in it. Trust must be earned. Some risks and caveats. Because truth is important, here are some things to watch out for, right? We'll talk about that too. Delegation can lead to power concentration if most ADA holders don't vote or delegate. If D-reps cluster around narrow interests. Bad proposals and malicious or ill-informed ones still are possible. You need good off-chain delegation, deliberation, and quality of proposals. Voter apathy is real. If people believe their vote doesn't matter, or they don't understand that it does, they may disengage. External legal and political systems may clash. For real-world entities and governments, regulations and liabilities. Of course, they want it to be unadopted. Where you and people like you can help, and what you can do for adoption and advocacy. First and foremost, educate through your art, your conversations, and your live streams. Make these governance ideas accessible. Share concrete examples of what has been voted for and what has changed. Participate as an ADA holder. Delegate. Maybe become a D-rep or engage in the Constitutional Committee election. Build or support tooling, dashboards, simpler wallets, clear proposal summaries, and help people see what proposals mean, visualize the outcomes. Build or support, I think I've already read the one. Use these ideas in all circles, in your business, in your communities, in the events you work with. I've literally been doing every single one of those things relentlessly. I'm like screaming into the void, just like begging people. Show the contrast between institutions that don't have transparency and what it could look like if these systems did. And then do so through storytelling. Show successes and failure through honesty, the lessons learned, because trust comes from stories. Conclusion. Yes, Cardano is one of the most mature, thoughtful attempts to solve many of the institutional trust, governance, and evolution problems we face. It is far from perfect, but the design is strong. What remains is human growth, adoption, integrity, and participation. If more people showed up, used it, care about it, the potential is unimaginable. The future looks hopeful if we do this consciously, choosing values, showing up, building tools, and then using them. We can evolve our institutions not by waiting for them to collapse, but by becoming them ourselves in our networks, communities, and ecosystems. So there it is, Sam. That is it. That's the only way. That's the only way we solve our problems. We can about it all we want. It's not going to make a difference because those systems are hundreds of years old at this point. 100-year-old systems. If you think you can change something like that, you're naive. But we've built something better. Can you repeat that? I missed it. Jovan poking fun of me. I know, I love you. Thank you for adding some lightness to my heart. I really, like, again, right? I believe in this to the point where it's the only thing that I can see helping, you know? And it's not that I don't want to talk about the problems as we face them right now. It's just that I am more interested in the solutions. I'm way more interested in seeing how we can make ourselves better with the technology that already exists, you know, instead of like kind of like looping and looping around the problems as they are. Me and Jovan even had this conversation recently, right? And I don't want to like really bring up the context of it, but sometimes dramatic things happen. And then the first response in people every single time is to like talk about how it could have been done differently. Oh, it should have been done like this instead, you know. Oh, if only so and so and so, right? That doesn't help. It doesn't help. Unfortunately, it just re-echoes, reopens up the wounds of pain, right? And we cannot move forward. You cannot solve a problem from the same state of mind that caused it, all right? And the state of mind that caused it is this state of decimation, the state of like hopelessness, of like believing that it's already done, it's already over. We need to fix our money. That's the first thing that needs to happen. And as soon as we do, it's going to get a lot better. I promise. I don't have a crystal ball, but I have been paying attention for a long time. All right. And that's the only way that I see out of this fractal. They have a problem with some folks. Justify criminal acting, another one. You don't accomplish legislation like that without dark money. Yeah, exactly. Which is where Citizens United comes in. Now companies are considering private citizens and donate anonymously to their favorite scumbags. Yeah, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, money. That's what I heard, right? There's no such thing as dark money with on-chain governance, fortunately. All of this to say, yes, all that may be very well and good, but it's simply not possible here because we remove before. No, it is. It is possible, Sam. It, like, literally, it's happening despite the racists and xenophobes and idiotic thorns in our side. It's happened despite that. That's the point I'm trying to make as clear as possible. It's already happening, all right? It's just a matter of time at this point. The internet took a lot of time, right? How old is the internet and how long did it take for the whole world to actually come online? Mm-mm-mm. 1969 with ARPANET. That's 56 years ago. All right, so literally before my dad was born, he didn't even exist on this planet, the internet existed. All right, then through the 1970s and 80s, it was only kind of like used for military purposes, institutions and universities. Then from 1989 to 1991, HTTP and HTML became a little bit more of a thing, and everyday people could actually start using it. Then in the 1990s and afterwards, ISPs actually started taking a little bit more root. By the year 2000, 360 million people Hey, Melita, it's nice having you here. 360 million people were using the internet. That's 6% of the population, right? So 25 years ago, only 6% of the population was using the internet. Now, as of today, 70% of people are using the internet. And if you look at the adoption curve of crypto, it's happening faster. So it's not going to take us 25 years to get the entire population on chain. It's probably going to take us 10 from now. Right? Like it's kind of like already been, what, 16 years technically. But it's going to take us 10 more years to get again another 65 to 70% of people on chain. And again, right now, it's still like, it's just this novel, money go up technology. No, it's not. It's literally a fundamental shift in our entire society. The way we govern ourselves, the way we exchange value, the immediacy with which we can exchange value. We're going to have supercomputers that can create value. And do you think they're going to put their value in fiat currency? They won't, right? Because again, they're going to be competing for finite resources. And again, the resource that is, some of the blockchains cannot be issued more of. The Bitcoin supercomputer is one of the most powerful supercomputers on planet Earth. The smartest people on planet Earth, the most devious hackers on planet Earth. There has been entire countries, China banned it. Mount Gox tried to kill it like ever and over and over again. They tried. With, as you said, the racists and xenophobes and thorns in our side, they tried. They failed. And now they're realizing, they're starting to see the light, like, oh shit, like we have to get on board, otherwise the ship is living without us. How big is the Bitcoin supercomputer right now? And is it technically one of the biggest collective supercomputers on planet Earth? I'm pretty sure it is. I think it's 970 exahash right now. Let's check. And hash rate. Yeah. No, that can't be right. This thing says 600 exahash. Fine. Excuse me for being 300 exahash over the estimate. So how does that compare to modern supercomputers? The fastest traditional supercomputer today on planet Earth is in the range of exaflop ranges, 1 to 2 exaflops. That is 10 to the power of 18 floating point operations per second. The Bitcoin network, if you natively compare operations, is doing hundreds of exahash, right? Biggest supercomputer on planet Earth, 1 to 2. A money computer, hundreds. So it's way higher in raw computation count. Some estimates put it in the equivalent of 100,000 times more raw computations per second than the world's fastest supercomputers combined. However, in this way, Bitcoin miners are specialized, and they only do SHA-256 hashing. They can't run simulations or weather models or AI training or physical calculations. So it's not exactly general purpose supercomputing. But yeah, hundreds of thousands of times, right? Like that's the level of like infrastructure and energy that we're dealing with right now. The biggest supercomputers on planet Earth versus money computer. And this money computer is hundreds of thousands of times more compute intensive. Yeah. Which means that the only way to try and crack it is for you to have more processing power than that, which is impossible. It's impossible. It's proof of work. We're literally taking electricity and human expertise in our ability to build machines, and we are cracking that into digital value, right? That is immutable, that is on chain, that I can go and look at, all right? I can see where my money is in my bank account. Where even if you have 1 million rand in Standard Bank, you don't know where that 1 million rand is. You just trust that they have it. And by law, they only have to have 10% of it. Yeah. It's happening, friends. And that's going to be just one little part of it, right? It has been turned into just a store of value, which was never the point. It was supposed to be peer-to-peer cash, and unfortunately, it's not going to be peer-to-peer cash anymore. But we don't need that to be peer-to-peer cash. We'll have systems that are built on it. And Cardano, by the way, is also EUTXO, where Bitcoin is just UTXO, unspent transaction output, which means that when I spend money, I send you the money, and you essentially give me the change in a digital form, right? So it's like I take a coin and I give it to you, right? I can't take a $10 note and tear off 90% of it and give you the other like 10% of the $10 note and be like, there's your $1. That's not how it works. I have to give you the whole $10 and then you have to give me my change, right? And there is that actual digital exchange, like on-chain transaction that you can go and verify. All right. And again, Cardano is going to allow us to build smart contracts as a secondary layer onto that. And suddenly there will be a lot of liquidity available and people will be able to lend and stake their Bitcoin as well. The future is bright, right? I'm sharing all of this stuff from a place of deep hope for what the future can be. Because when we have something truly scarce, when we have a resource that they cannot just make more of, everything else in comparison becomes cheaper, right? Eventually, we'll reach a point in our society where it will be more expensive in transaction costs for me to sell you a bread than it will be for me to just give it for you for free. All right, there's a level of robotics and the level of AI that already harvested the grains, put it in the ground in the first place, right? By the time it actually reaches your home, it will have been cheaper to just give it to you than it would be to pay for it. Right? That's the future that I'm building in my mind and then I'm hoping for our society. I refuse to be scared. I am hopeful. Not even a fraction of a percentage of energy. Damn, bro, I totally forgot about you. Now I see Oscar. Just keeps forgetting. Oh, tells me he'll be here. Just breaks my heart. I cry. Oh. Love is true. I had fun having this conversation with you, friends. I know when I get into this state, it might feel like I'm talking at you. It's never my intention. All right. If you were here with me, we could be debating properly. But I have been obsessed, and I know that I am big obsessed with this technology for a very long time. And I used to be very depressed, looking at the systems as they are, and the institutions that I had absolutely no trust in, and thinking to myself, how am I supposed to commit to anything? How am I supposed to believe in anything when the religion that I grew up in seems like nonsense to me? When the money that I am literally sacrificing my life for is being printed. They've printed 2.4 trillion rand, all right? Trillion rand of my country's currency just since I finished high school, all right? That's enough money to give 1 million people an middle class quality of life indefinitely. That just got into existence. What the fuck? That's wild. That's not okay. That's not okay. We can't keep doing that, you know? And the people that actually understand what's happening are those that are trying to solve the problems. That's the biggest problem that our society faces right now. We need to fix our money. That's the #1 problem. And we're doing it. Slowly but surely, it's happening. And you friends are living in the age where that's actually happening. And it's hopeful. It is very hopeful that we get to be. But we have to be aware. We have to see these creatures as they emerge so that we can befriend them. Otherwise, we'll be scared instead. Don't believe in fear. Don't be convinced. Love is true. Ah, Jovan, with your heart eyes. I love you, you know. So much. Today's poem is called God Conduits. We're all out here doing the best that we know how with what we've been shown. Each and every one of us. That's why healthy communication is so important. Meeting one another where we are. You're right, Sean. I appreciate you echoing that sentiment. I never try to dismiss the problems of our world. Quite the contrary. I am painfully aware of the problems of our world. Right. I, at one point, was so convinced that the problems of our world were unsolvable that I decided to opt out instead. Right. And it was only after that that I realized that I'm not going to be helping by doing that. Right. In fact, if there was some sort of manipulation, some sort of coercion happening, then that is how they won. It's for me to just give up and opt out, right? Because that's how I stop being helpful. That's how I stop being able to contribute. Stop being able to put my voice into the world as well. Got conduits? You've heard about got milk. Now get ready for got conduits. Tap. A thought leaps, spark to spark across the dark. Suddenly you are not alone. Connection is not a line, it's a chord. Resonant, braided, humming with the tune we didn't know we've been waiting for. Have you felt it? The way one glance rewrites your whole tempo. The way one word can stretch a minute into cathedral time. Be inspired and watch what happens. Your chest becomes a lighthouse, your voice a magnet, your presence a signal fire, calling in ones who hum on your frequency. Love is not a gamble, it's gravity. The right energies don't just drift near, they fall into orbit. They stay, they circle, they shine. And then the world becomes a stage you want to step on. The future a rhythm you lean forward into, excited to improvise. So lift your lantern. Sing your spark. This is how we build a tomorrow worth arriving in. Together, inspired. To lift up and light up. I appreciate you, friends, for lifting me up, and for lighting me up with so much hope. All right. The more negativity I receive from the world, the more positivity my heart chooses to share. I am unconvinced that the world's a bad place. I don't believe it. I haven't believed it ever. That's why I stopped being religious, because the religion I was born into tried to convince me that I'm a sinner, one that's going to go and burn in hell by God's will if I don't conform to that reality. And I just couldn't. I couldn't conform. I choose to believe in a better world. And I know for a fact that you friends are a part of it. I thank you for joining me again. I'll see you friends soon. Tomorrow. We're getting closer and closer, Zhao. You're leaving tomorrow, aren't you? On your journey. GBs. I love you, friends. I'll see you again soon. Goodbye for now.